Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Hola, hola to another episode of Mujer De Exito, Unbounded, Woman of Success Without Limits. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you, my watchers and my listeners. I know that sounds weird, but my watchers and my listeners. Gracias por estar aquí. Today, I am so incredibly excited and grateful for the fact that I get to interview. I call her my friend. I hope she doesn't say no, she's not my friend, but a beautiful woman that I met last year. And, I met her because she had something going on, which she's going to talk about. And I went ahead and I took a chance and I reached out to her and was able to meet this beautiful woman. And her name is Shadi. And Shadi is an actress and a portrait photographer. And, she's been doing this. She's been doing this from afar, from behind the camera for over a decade now, capturing, her subject's best facial and body expressions, making you feel at home whenever she takes beautiful pictures of you. And she knows what it's like to be behind the camera and to feel that's scared and nervousness, because she's an actress and she's also an actress, but she's trained formally with some very classy photographers and I'm sure very classy acting coaches. And she's an amazing woman. And I'm just so excited to have her here so that we can share her story. So let's say welcome to Shadi. Welcome, Shadi.
Oh, thank you, Marty. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited and to be part of your podcast. It's just an honor, and definitely you are my friend. Uh, yeah,
Let
in they and my beautiful, amazing friends. So definitely.
Oh, thank you. Let's get a little bit. This is all about, the podcast is all about women entrepreneurs. It's about sharing your story. I love to share the different stories, and sometimes we get surprises because things come out that sometimes we don't even realize they're going to come out. But hopefully, we can, really get in there and share your story, share your personal story about because you're thriving now, how you've gone from surviving to thriving both as a woman and as a photographer, and, just all of that. So tell me a little bit about who Shadi was before coming into her photographer profession.
All right. So back in 2000, I started working for this insurance company, and I hated my job. It was a 9 to 5. I was always artistic. I didn't like numbers, so but it was a job, and I was grateful. But then, in the group of friends that later on in life I got introduced to, and another the with her, and she just in 10 minutes she taught me what aperture and f-stop and shutter speed is, and told me to just have fun and help her on the set. So I did that, and when we sat in the car, she had tears in her eyes, and what I captured and natural. So it was at that part that I really realized that I found my uh, what my purpose basically, and that was it. That was my calling, and was a photographer hobby. So it all made sense to me why I had this natural creative eye, basically, as they say. So I started school. I joined National New York Institute of Photography, took classes and minute of it, but it was really, really, really hard work and dedication. I came from a long way. So finally, in 2016, I decided to leave my day job and go full time because I had to let go of my steady paycheck. But I did it with the help of my great mentor Sue Bryce, as you were mentioning. She's one of my educator, and mentors. So she's a very well known photographer. So I educated myself. I took her workshops. And I went full. Uh, yeah, I love it. It's just part of who I am, and my passion is to capture people's natural, like you were saying, I made you like a model, but you are picture that, show it to you. And when I see my clients' tears in their eyes when they see their photos, like, oh my God, do I really look like this? That's what's keeps me going. Um,
That's so beautiful. Yes. So let me ask you this. You built this business with no support system. You did a lot of work and a lot of hard work, a lot of diligence, a lot of consistency, a lot of persistence.
yes.
And you made it where other people might have stopped
Yeah.
and and just given up, but you made it. What do you think was that driving force that you had inside you or outside you? What do you think that made you keep going?
Marty, one thing about me, I'm not I like to grow. I like to, I don't like to just settle for anything in my life. So when I was sitting in my cube and suffering, being a full photographer was a going to achieve this goal. Um, and all I would think about is, oh, if I was full time photographer, this is what I would be doing, and I would be so happy. So all my goals, being so my way. I had a really bad breakup in the middle of all this transition. And I just couldn't even get out of bed after that. But I kept going and I put a smile on my face. I time for me was like torture. And I did it. I put a smile on my face, and everything that I feel, I capture that in other people, and I show that. So I was told, oh, Shadi, your art, it shows emotion. There's emotion in it. So
That's
whatever,
awesome.
I like to capture that and show that through other people.
Right.
So if that makes sense. So
Yeah, let me stop you real quick. So you went through a bad breakup with your partner, right? With your
yes,
husband or your
ex-boyfriend.
part. And so what you know when that happened,
Mhm.
when that happened, that must have been a very dark period of your life. And that happens a lot to a lot of women. But if you were to give somebody some, maybe throw them a life, a life vest or whatever to put on, what would you say to that mujer, to that woman, to keep going? What could you offer once you now are outside of that turmoil?
I say, on your dreams, even rely on the system. And I kept going, and I only relied on myself. And I'm proud of myself. I'm not one of those women that say, "Oh, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of my wonderful partner," or whatever. I can't say that. I
Right.
never have. I'm proud of myself. I am who I am. I got whatever I have, which is not very much, but whatever I have, I did that.
Right.
And no one can tell me, "Oh, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of me."
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Be strong on you and where you want to be in life as you. Who are you? You know, if that partner goes away, then you wouldn't feel empty because it wouldn't affect who you are and who you have and what you can offer. You're strong. You have your own empire, and then that person can come and go, you know, you know what I'm
Yes. S-
yeah.
So amazing. So important for us to remember as women, especially, being women of culture. I know that, in being a woman of culture, at least with my mom was so different than I was. My mom, when my parents separated, and I'm just going to share real quick, she could not find herself unless she defined herself by the fact that she had a man on her side. And the sad part was that the second man that she had was definitely, for lack of a better word, a moocher. He never contributed anything financially, anything materialistically. And at the end of the day, I know that he didn't contribute emotionally either. But my mom, needed that because that's how she grew up. And the sad part was that she ended up being a trophy wife.
Right.
So I love your words because, you empower us. But did that ever, were you ever, did that example ever happen to you where you saw maybe your mom or some other woman? Because you're also, Iranian, which is a strong culture as well. So tell me a little bit about how that played out and shaped you as a woman.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, my mom was the same. And I didn't want to be like her. I found that as being weak, and I didn't like to be in my previous and at one point after my breakup with my ex-boyfriend, I was like, enough is enough. I It was very hard work working on yourself. So changing yourself from something you're used to and you've seen and grew up with your whole life and becoming this different person so you can survive, and be. It's a lot of my clients, when I photograph them, this 40 over 40 especially project that I put together especially for this reason, is because I see and hear a lot of women that they are not happy,
Mm-hmm.
and they stay in there. They are that person, and that person is abusive in some way or the other, and they're just suffering. And
Mm.
it's just, yeah, it bothers me a lot because I've been there. I know.
Ah, so let's talk a little bit about, that's where you were as a survivor, right? You survived the breakup and then you are thriving now. And you talked a little bit about your 40 over 40 project, and that's how we met. But tell me a little bit about what is that project and how did it, how did it just pop up and how long have you been doing it?
So when I've just been a professional photographer for the past 13 years, since 2010. All of these years, all these stories, and when I sit down with the women and I learn about them and hear their stories, this is suddenly I all in business to offer something and help people, not just think about the money part. How can we really help people? And I sat down and thought to myself, okay, I can do headshots, I can do what, how am I real passion? And I came up with this project. I'm like, okay, women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s. I see a beauty that comes with age. And
Mhm.
that's what I want to photograph and show these women that you can look like you just came out of a cover of a magazine. You don't have to be 20-year-old or 30.
Mhm.
You don't have to lose 20 pounds first. It's all about the lighting and the angles and how the photographer captures you. And I want to show you because women in these age, they all have this some kind of story. They're either divorced, they're like some kind of stories that they have, and I wanted to capture their essence and their beauty and also share that with their stories. So that's how I put this 40 over 40 together. It means I want to photograph 40 women and stories.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's important that that you you have a servant you have a servant mind, and you're a servant leader because you're leading all these women literally to you. And I think that is so amazing, so beautiful, because you're such a warm person, and I'm just so blessed to have met you. But I do want to share with you that how I found you was also a point in my life. That's why when I was teaching as a college professor, I was teaching yoga. I would tell everybody, and I still to this day firmly believe this: there are no coincidences or accidents in life. Everything is meant to be, and you've got two choices. You either let it go or you take advantage of that. And everything is an opportunity, even when it looks ugly.
Yes.
So, how I came about it was, I was feeling a certain something in my life needed a little bit more, and my mental health wasn't where it should have been because I had just lost. I was just at the point where we were coming out of COVID, and I was, almost at losing my mom because I was her caregiver. And then one day I just popped into my Instagram, I saw you and it was like, oh my gosh, and I thought, okay, because I was at the point where I was an ageist to myself, right? And I kept saying, I'm old, I'm old, I'm old. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And when I allowed myself to be photographed, because it's a I would say it's an interaction, right? It's you feel very vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And so I was like, but when I allowed you in, your leadership took me from, you know, being afraid and feeling like, if you will, like, I don't want anybody to see me, to whoa, it was just
Yeah.
an amazing experience. And so,
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, so I invite my listeners that, if you're even considering, or maybe you've never considered, like me, I wasn't looking for a photographer really. I mean, I knew I needed headshots, but headshots are different than what she did. She made me look amazing. And that's capital letters AMAZING. And so I
Thank
just, really, you've got to make sure, that you follow this woman and you see her, her website, and she'll give you all that information. But Shadi, you truly are transformative. You're what I would call a transformative photographer.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard
Would you
both.
agree with that?
They say your style is transformational, elegant, timeless, and empowering. Those are the words they use.
Well, yeah, and I'm looking behind you. And because for those of you that are listening to the podcast, the video cast, if you want to see what I'm looking at,
Yeah.
you can catch it at the Coach Marty Angel YouTube channel. But behind her, she's got pieces of her photography, and they are amazing. All these women are like gorgeous.
Yeah.
And, but share some. Yeah, yeah, go
Sure.
ahead.
I just wanted to show everyone my photographers that we're done. See you next year. I finished my work when I see my final work printed. So, like a piece of art, because people don't know what to do with their pictures. How many times are they just going to post them on social media and stuff? But just seeing so this is all that I became good friends with. So it's this is not just about doing business. For me, it's about finding friends, and really connecting with them. I really love this photo of her. It's like a
Yeah,
Marilyn Monroe pose. My passion. That's what I love.
to do. Yeah.
How you get this beautiful folio box with your prints and JPEG files, and it's something that you can always cherish forever. This is Christy, you know.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
She's just amazing. You capture, y- the photographs that I see or that I saw when I was going, and then you also put together an experience. It's not about you just show up and you to your place and you sit down, right? No, I mean, it was an experience, right? So, um, tell us a little bit about what did they experience? What are they going to experience if they say, "Hey, Shadi, I want to try this 40 over 40."
yeah. I mean, I'd like to share that. So when you book the session, then when you come over, Emmeline, my amazing hair and makeup artist, will transform you. So from we do a little before and after picture after you're done, and then So you'll see the transformation most like every time actually. Look at themselves in the mirror, like, believe this. And then we um, we go and get ready. They put on their outfits, different outfits. My I what I like to do is normally get them into their least favorite outfit in front of my camera. It's so amazing, as you mentioned, Marty. The first people are like, oh, I feel awkward. I don't know how to pose, But then 10 minutes later, they're just blossoming in front of my camera and they pose like they're a supermodel. So that's how I make them feel so basically.
Yeah.
Because I like to really pose them. I like to capture them in their natural essence, basically. Like they're not really posing. That's when you get the best shots.
Yes. And you're so warm, and you have this way about you. And at least my experience, I can just say that it was just it was a full day experience, but it was beautiful. It was like a self help day for me. It was just amazing. Come home and you feel really good, besides the fact I didn't want to take my makeup off.
Yeah. Oh, I always tell them to book like a girls' night out or go out with their significant other because they're glammed up and
I
they
know.
feel like a supermodel.
I know, it's just amazing. And but you have an amazing you said something about you like to transform, and what I've seen from you, the work that you do is transformational. And it's amazing, how you get behind the camera, and then in front of the camera, it's like, okay, because I remember being like, tight, very tight, very closed in. And then you were like, okay, take a deep breath, relax. And so you kind of guide me through there, and then was like, okay, I got this. I can do this. Right.
Yeah.
And, but it takes a while. So that, people are going, why does it take all day? Because I think I think that, like me, many people get in there, and at first it's fun, but then it's like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like doing a live. You're in front of a camera, and then all of a sudden you get really tied up. I remember just feeling like,
Yeah.
but you're great. You're great, and then your mannerisms and stuff, and that must take a lot of practice, because I'm sure when you first started, helping somebody come out of their shell so that you can capture their essence
Right.
is work, right?
Yes, it is. It is. The next day, I'm just beat. you know, it takes a lot of energy out of me because it's not easy to be in front of the camera, and I know that because it's not because I'm not one the shutter, and the button and take 1,000 images. So then one will come out great. As you worked with me, I take my time. Every shot I take, unless I tell you, Marty, this now you just flow, do your shots. But most of the time, look to you and see what I can capture when your movement is the way that would look amazing when I capture it. So it takes time. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure, besides the time that it takes when you're in that space, the when you first started to where you are right now is a transformation for yourself as well,
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
right?
Yes.
So, Shadi, tell me. So, tell us. I know you have a, you have a freebie. Tell us where people can find you with your beautiful goodness.
Oh, thank you, Marty. So the link is, are we going to share the link as
Yes.
well on the
Yes. So
bio?
it'll be, so if you're listening to this on the podcast, it'll be in the show notes.
Mhm.
And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, it's in the notes as well, below the video. So yes. So it's
Shadi Ameri will be where you can learn more about the 40 over 40 project, and Marty will share the link, so then you know exactly how to spell my name.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then your social media handles are, make sure everybody follows her, Shadi Ameri Photography at, right, at
Yeah.
Shadi Ameri Photography. And,
My acting
oh,
page is Shadi Ameri Actress.
an actress, because this woman is an actress as well, and she's an amazing actress. I've seen her do some things, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I just want to be an extra. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. I just want to jump up and down behind you, and I'll be your extra, right? I'll be your personal extra.
You're so cute, Marty.
So thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so
You.
much for everything, for coming on with me, for for allowing me
My
to be your
pleasure.
friend. And
Pleasure. It's all my pleasure, Marty. You know, I just can't thank you enough, and I can't. I'm so grateful that I found you. I connected with you. You're very you're a great friend. I just quality, and I'm just so grateful that I found you.
thank you so much. And the feeling is mutual. And I'm sure that we'll be putting our heads together for some sort of collaborative effort, hopefully, where we can both share our gifts to the world. And thank you so much for being on this podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, make sure that you download the podcast. And if you know a Mujer de Exito, a bilingual or monolingual, it doesn't matter, BIPOC, woman of culture who's got a story that we need to hear so that we can empower others to go from surviving to thriving, please make sure to drop me a note. I'm at Marty Angel _ELC for Empowering Latina Coach. And I am that way everywhere across all social media channels. And here on the Coach Marty Angel YouTube channel. Thank you, Shadi.
Oh,
It
thank
has
you, Marty.
been an amazing experience to have you on the show. Everybody, thank you so much.